has an iPod, the change in your pocket, and the back of a turtle to do with your Tai Chi? And what book did King Wu collaborate on? And why is it still consulted today by yarrow stalk-loving emperors in search of probabilities? Find out on this week's episode, The Search for the Ultimate Shuffle, with the Teapot Monk. According to some, it all began some 5,000 years ago. No, not the inevitable collapse of capitalism, though now I mention it, but the Book of Changes, also known as the I Ching. And this collective work has, over the centuries, evolved and adapted to the requirements of warlords, alchemists, kings and emperors, to say nothing of philosophers, politicians and entrepreneurs. It has been said that certain CEOs of certain companies consult the oracle before making important decisions. And why not? Given the appalling state of the global economy, why not indeed trust your product launch to the random tossing of a few coins? For the notion of what is random is crucial if we wish to understand something of this legendary oracle. For the use of such practices dates back to a time when fate was seen as drawn, and that within the limited fields of opportunity there lay little flexibility. And what flexibility existed could only be ascertained by consulting the Book of Changes.
Oh, really?
So what is the Book of Changes? Well, it is composed of 64 hexagrams with lines that are interpreted by tossing coins, or originally yarrow sticks, into the air and observing the patterns they create upon their fall. The patterns recorded comprise hexagrams made up of broken or unbroken lines, or a dash or a zero, mirroring once more the cycle of life and the binary code that constitutes so much of our present-day existence. Each hexagram is composed of two trigrams, an upper and a lower, and these, arranged in a circle, were initially discovered on the back of a turtle. Yes, a turtle. Well, that's the way the story goes. Today, they can be more usually found on a mirror or a disc and comprise the Bagua circle, Bagua being the other internal Chinese martial art alongside Tai Chi and Xingyi. An unbroken line in a hexagram is called a yang line, a broken line a yin line, and together they form another important symbol, that of the yin-yang circle. Underneath all of this lies a few familiar Taoist concepts, such as the inevitability of change, all events being just part of a bigger process, and the need to seek and maintain a balance in the world of opposites and contradictions. Now, contributors to this book, amongst others, not King Louis, that was the Jungle Book, King Wu, and Confucius, have added a word here or there. In fact, probably over the last 50 centuries, quite a few people would have thrown in their 2 pennies worth, so we shouldn't be surprised to see a few differences of opinion here or there. But, I always say, what's a contradiction to an I Ching consulter? Other than an answer, of course. So why do people consult the oracle, as Neo said in The Matrix? And what's it to do with Tai Chi? Well, the Taoist school say that it has its foundations in Taoism. No surprising there. Yin-yang and all that jazz. Whilst the Confucianists pour scorn on the Taoist claim and say that as it was once required reading to join the civil service, and in turn it became known as one of the 5 Confucianist texts, then it's primarily an ethical and philosophical document on Confucianist lines.
Oh, really?
Yet not everyone is in agreement. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, for example, knowing when to act, fits rather neatly in with much of the I Ching, and certainly the trigrams and the yin-yang comprise part of the Taoist tradition. Does it work? Does it make sense? What rationale is there to consulting a possible outcome through the random act of tossing a coin? These questions are difficult to answer with words. You can but try it yourself, or simply dismiss it. Some may argue that all choice is illusion. Certainly in the second decade of the 21st century, perusing the choice of political change, one is tempted to agree. But perhaps we digress, for the original question was related to the notion of randomness. And before we dismiss such concepts out of hand, let's remind ourselves that such solid sciences as quantum physics rest on the notion of probability of outcome as opposed to certainty. And this is where we come round to the subject of your iPod. Even the shuffle mode of your MP3 player produces no more than a probability of outcome. And it is precisely down the highway of limited probability and uncertainty that we are all so tempted to travel. We all need moments when we have to let go of our conscious state, our obsession for data, information and control, and in so doing, we can perhaps engage with another pattern altogether, a process at work all around us. And this pattern, this process, this unfolding of life is known as the Tao. Through more manipulative or controllable actions, you would find the results somewhat less helpful, simply because of our tendency to tamper with the parameters. Go on, admit it. You would if you could.
Excuse me.
Go on, give it a go. Release your control and cast your yarrow sticks into the air. Only beware that some I Ching versions have more of a Confucian and less of a Taoist interpretation. Want to try a 21st century version? Then think of a question and press shuffle on your iPod. Or, for a more complete answer, there's even an iPhone app that randomizes the throwing of the coins, the writing down of the hexagrams, and translates the meaning, and even asks you which copy of the I Ching you wish to consult for the reading. Yeah, I know, that's technology for you. I'll leave a link to this small and rather beautiful little app in the show notes. And how does it all relate to Tai Chi and the need to make sense of where we are? Well, last week I said we need to look back before we can move on. And today we've started that process and we've taken our first step. But it doesn't end here. Oh no. Next week we carry on looking back and flip through the pages of another relatively well-known tome, the Tao Te Ching. Looking to discover what Tai Chi can do for you, or curious and would like to know a little more? Well, just come over to 21stcenturytaichi.com. Look for the link in the show notes. There's short introductory courses, breathing, health, Tai Chi form, sword, philosophy applications and more, plus books, PDFs and great videos and even music. Got a question? track me down on social media as the Teapot Monk. Thanks for listening.